So I'm gonna outline some of my, or just put out there some of my, like, beliefs in, like, paranormal entities and, my position. I'm not a Posadist, and I don't I'm a pragmatic atheist, so I believe, like, there is no God. I personally don't believe in deities. But at the same time, I'm an animist. I extend compassion. I extend empathy. As also a vegan, somebody who realizes that they are an animal. You know, I'm an animal, and so is every other person. I don't think we're superior to animals. I think the way that we treat animals, we got to think a lot about that, and that extends to the way we treat other spirits. Because in the end, it's like other spirits, extra-dimensional entities, extraterrestrial entities, paranormal entities, you know, nature spirits, ghosts, you know, poltergeists, things like that. Some of which I think is, you know, poltergeist, it seems like maybe is some sort of paranormal energy, I would say. But I would say all these things, all these spirits are essentially, like, if we're to look at them on, like, a level, just like all other animals, like, we are animals, and so we would look at all animals and plants and fungi as well as organisms like ourselves. And so there has to be a certain, like, idea of sustainability and equitable, like, sort of, like, dealings within, because we are, like, an organic family, like, pattern of life, you know, on this planet, you know. And so it's like, I would say, you know, animals, it's like we should see them as comrades. We should do our best to, like, assist animals when they need help. You know, we should recognize their rights to autonomy, however practically possible, because we exist in a system that's built on the exploitation of animals and the abuse and the violence against animals. You know, so we have to take that into account when interacting with animals. You know, I find it best just to observe animals, not to interfere with animals. Like, if there's a deer, if there's a bird, like, don't invade their space, you know. They're there or whatever. But if there's a situation where you can help an animal, you know, if there's, like, you see an animal, like, I think, like, the ALF, or Animal Liberation Front, or whatever, does, like, really important work where it's, like, rescuing lab animals and rescuing animals from slaughterhouses. I wish I could do that more, like, go to the Whole Foods and, like, rescue the lobsters and shit, you know, or rescue, like, crabs or like, pet fish or something, set them free. But, you know, all that is complex stuff, where it's like not all of them are endemic species, and so accommodations have to be made, and they could be made if it was addressed on a systemic level, if we just ceased exploiting animals in the capacity that we are now, you know, and look towards, like, rehoming, like, providing, like places for these animals to, like, exist equitably without disrupting, like, the natural ecoscape. But let's not kid ourselves. The ecoscape is like incredibly damaged already from all the pollutants. So all these people who talk about how, oh, I'm gonna go shoot, like, this so-and-so animal because they're an invasive species and they're messing with our, like, local, like, ecosystem. It's like, motherfucker, you're fucking driving that car is messing with your fucking local ecosystem. You spraying your lawn with that fucking pesticide is messing with your goddamn local ecosystem. That one, you know, those animals didn't choose for this to happen. That's a human thing. And so you, like, treating them with callous disposability, where it's like they're not even beings to you, they're just a pest or whatever. That just, like, drives me off the wall. It's like every animal deserves respect, you know. It's like, and we should be building, you know, habitable zones, but we shouldn't be, like, murdering animals just to, like, you know, rehoming, like, freaking, like, even just like, care or whatever, where it's like, you know, we can, like, figure out situations for different sorts of animals. You know, there are all sorts of, like, places where sanctuaries and stuff like that, build sanctuaries, and often you can create your own ecoscapes and stuff like that, you know, in like, reclaimed areas, like, you know, fucking concrete storefronts and shit, just, like, regrow, rewood, you know. It's like rewooding areas, you know, replanting, taking back the industrial spaces that have been, like, basically just fucking forced on, like, natural ecoscapes. But, yeah, so I would say, like, animals, they are comrades. Help them however you can. People, they're comrades too. Unfortunately, a lot of people are going to be just, like, hostile towards your message because they're existing within a system that has perpetuated their like, entitlement to exploitation, to violence, and they see it as an outlet because, you know, they're also being oppressed by the same forces, you know, in different ways, obviously, but it's like, so they're upholding the interest that is destroying them. And so, like, trying to make that clear, trying to tease it out of the fucking woodwork can be, like, a fucking headache and a half. But it's worth it, you know, just to break things down for people, like, if you can, if you have the mental space to do that. But it can be toxic, and it's good to distance yourselves from toxic discourse if you feel like you need to, like, mentally rehabilitate, take care of yourself. You gotta be healthy. You can't fucking be, like, you know, getting drained all the fucking time from just, like, talking to a goddamn, like, shit wall where it's like anything you say just, like, bounces off, and it's like fucking, like, talking to, like, a garbage can, you know. It's like, it's not gonna stop being a can full of, like, waste. But I don't like to think that way about people. I think people can change. It's just the toxic atmosphere that they're in. If they're still in that atmosphere, there's not much you can do. You can say some stuff. But in the meantime, it's best not to amplify their rhetoric, because the one thing that somebody wants to do when they're cornered, when you can clearly point out where they're being hateful and bigoted, is just freaking overpower it, where it's just like complete hateful nonsense, just like fucking floodgates unleashed, and then they look at you like you're supposed to, like, somehow, like, reaffirm what they just said. And so that's when you need to distance yourself from it, like, say something about it that's rational, to say something like, you know, it's like, well, I haven't seen, like, this doesn't make any sense, because it's not just one solid entity, you know, a corporation